What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fight Maniac Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. I really appreciate all of you that are out there watching, listening. Thank you guys. As always, if you want to support your boy, all I ask is that you go ahead and you hit the like button and you hit the subscribe button. That would help me out tremendously. So thank you guys. And while you're at it, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you agree with any of my predictions, any of my picks that I made, my breakdowns, let me know if I'm crazy or if you agree. I definitely want to know. But yeah, big pay-per-view we have this Saturday night. So obviously, your boy's coming in with the heat, with the breakdown and my picks for who I think is going to be the winners of Saturday night. Obviously, we have UFC 322 in New York, Madison Square Garden, a venue that really always delivers. We've seen some legendary performances there from Conor McGregor, AZ, Alex Pereira, John Jones. So yeah, it's always a great time when we have a MSG fight night. So looking forward to it, definitely. And I mean, dude, looking at this card, bro, it's absolutely stacked, bro. I mean, we've had some great cards this year, 321 was an odd, horrible card. But this one, bro, chef's kiss to the matchmakers. I know we talk a lot of shit on the UFC, on the matchmakers, on Dana, but brother, this card, at least the main card, some of the prelims too, but at least the main card is absolutely stacked, bro. Skill by skill, big names, possible number one contender fights, 2 title fights. It is insane. So really looking forward to this Saturday, man. It's gonna be insane. Obviously, I'm going to start right away with the main event. I'm not going to tease you guys. I don't do that. So right away, we have JDM, Jack Della Maddalena, defending his belt for the very first time since he defeated the former champ, Bilal Muhammad. For the very first time, defending it against none other than, the boogeyman himself of the UFC. If there was ever a boogeyman in the UFC, at least in the modern era, it's definitely Islam Makhachev. Moving up, obviously, from lightweight, relinquishing his belt. Weirdly enough, the co-main event is very similar to where you have Zhang Wei Li, who was the former strawweight champion. She gave up her belt. And that's how you had Mackenzie Dern versus Raul Rosas Jr. A few weeks ago for the strawweight belt. And then now she's moving up and she's fighting Valentina. So, and then obviously you had Ilia Topuria. So the point that I'm getting here is that I don't think the UFC is allowing people anymore to move up and try to go for a double belt unless they relinquish the belt. If you guys remember in the past, we saw people like Conor, like Amanda Nunes, DC, people that would move up while still defending the belt. And even as of a couple of years ago, we saw Alex Volkanovski, while he was champion of featherweight, go up to lightweight. But it seems like now, starting this year at least, they made it so that you have to relinquish your belt if you want to move up, which I'm not mad about, because sometimes by doing that, sometimes these guys, men and females, don't fight for, especially the champions, don't fight for 6-7 months, even to a year after a title defense, after a fight. When you're up and coming fighter, you fight more often because you make less money and there's less risk, but once you're the champion, bro, and you're making all that money and you're putting it a lot on the line each fight, definitely these guys take a long time off. Nothing like Marav. Marav he doesn't care, bro. He doesn't give a fuck. He's an animal. That's why I love him. But people like Islam, people like that, like Volkanovski, Topuria, they don't really fight that often, Don't even get me started on fucking heavyweights, bro. They fight fucking once a decade. But I kind of like it because it means that we're no longer gonna get divisions being held back. Whenever a champion moves up and defends and tries to go for a second belt, they just holds back their own division. And they holds back the number one contender. Maybe now they have to do an interim and all of that shit. So I kind of like it, but at the same time, I kind of want to see super fights because this is technically both of these. They should be super fights, but they're not. They are not champion versus champion, right? JDM, current champ, is fighting a former lightweight champ, right? Valentina Shevchenko, current champ, is fighting a former champ. So technically, Islam and Zhang Weili are not champions. So therefore, they're not. You can't really call them super fights, even though they are, because of the weight aspect of it. The moving up aspect of it. Technically, they're not super fights. So that's the only downside, is that you don't really have anymore a champion versus champion fight, which I think does great for pay-per-view, for hype, it's always good. But anyways, breaking down this fight, JDM versus Islam Makhachev. I think I wouldn't be wrong to assume that a lot of people are counting JDM out. They're expecting a dominant first round submission, second round submission from Islam Makhachev, just because that's what we're used to at this point. We're numb, bro. We're literally fucking numb to these daggies, and we think they're gonna dominate every time. But don't sleep on your boy JDM. I think if anything, JDM has a great skill set to defeat somebody like a Islam Makhachev. And if we just go back a little bit and we look at Islam, let's say, versus Poirier, right? I know his last fight was at lightweight, once against Moicano, but I don't count that fight because it was a last-minute replacement and Moicano had no chance. And by the way, it's so funny how he said, "Don't give me no bullshit hard fights. I want the easy fights." And bro gets Islam Makhachev like did. Anyways, but if you look at one of the more purest 155 fights that Islam had at lightweight, and I said that because other than that, it was just Charles, because he defended the title twice against Volkanovski, not a lightweight, right, a featherweight, and one of them was also last minute. I don't know about you, but I mean, Islam arguably lost that first fight against Volkanovski, right? But then he had another last-minute replacement against Moicano. So the only really fight you can look at 155 that was like, we can pick it apart and kind of see not the holes, but we can break apart Islam's game definitely more is Poirier. Because even the one against Charles, it was an early finish, so you don't really learn a lot, right? So the one about the Poirier fight, if you want to look at it this way, like, okay, who is a better boxer, Poirier or JDM, right? And also, JDM is definitely much bigger than Poirier. I mean, Poirier is a big 55er, but JDM is a true welterweight. He's not huge, but he's well built. He's not a massive guy at welterweight. But Poirier had some success on the wrestling department against Islam. Getting up a few times, stuffing a few takedowns, and keeping the fight on the feet. Touching Islam, I think from that fight we learned that against a good boxer, good striker, Islam might have some trouble, right? Islam definitely was a little touched up on that fight. He was bleeding, he was bruised up. It wasn't a walk in the park for Islam, brother. It was not a complete domination like a lot of people thought it was going to be. So I think, if anything, I said a lot of people are counting JDM out, but bro, he's a huge underdog. He is plus 225. That's not horrible, but it's also not great, By the way, I know all the fucking UFC people are going to be looking at the odds like a hawk from now on, bro. every single fight, if there's any discrepancy in the odds, they're gonna just fucking go crazy. Because of what happened a few weeks ago with the whole Isaac Dolgarian fight night and all of that shit. But anyways, JDM, if anything, I think has the right and the correct tool set to win against someone like a Islam Makhachev. Because if JDM can use his size to his advantage, and I don't know exactly how much that size difference will be. Islam looks massive. I mean, we see pictures of Islam in the gym training. Brother, he looks like fucking... he looks like Hamzat, bro. He looks like Hamzat when he was... before he fought DDP, he was bulking up. He looks absolutely massive. So we know Islam was a huge lightweight. How is he going to compare weight-wise against a welterweight, a good-sized welterweight? Mind you, JDM is not big, like I said. He's not huge. If he was fighting someone like a Kamaru Usman, now we're talking weight-wise. Kamaru Usman is absolutely massive for a welterweight. Or back in the day, you had someone like a Tyron Woodley. He was also massive for that weight class, So JDM is not big, but he's not small. There's really nobody small at welterweight. I mean, kind of like the more scrawny guys, I would say are like definitely the Leon Edwards, the little more scrawny. Colby Covington was definitely a bit more scrawny. By the way, I don't know what the fuck is going on with him, but he's definitely out of any type of title contender at this time, But again, JDM is not big, but he's not small. I think Islam is not really going to have a problem when it comes to the size. If you're expecting for Islam to struggle because JDM is massive, I think you're in for a fucking surprise. I think JDM is I think Islam is gonna surprise people by really just not taking him down at will, but definitely having success on the wrestling department, on the grappling department. Now, JDM is gonna keep it on the feet. I definitely expect JDM to get up, to stuff a few takedowns, and keep it on the feet. I also expect Islam Makhachev to entertain keeping the fight on the feet and actually striking with JDM, which that's the only chance really that JDM has to win this fight. He could pull off a decision win by maybe keeping it on the feet and just outstriking Islam, but he's going to out-wrestle you anyway, so the decision is pretty much out of the picture, He's not going to wrestle him. He's not going to submit him, A knockout is really the only, the high probability only chance I see for JDM to get a win here. Like, that is what he has to aim for. It doesn't have to be an early knockout. I think if one thing we saw with the Poirier fight against Islam is that he slows down a little bit at the end. He's not all gas. He's not 100% cardio master like someone like a Khabib or somebody like a fucking Marab. Like, he slows down a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, right? So JDM can use that to his advantage and potentially catch him in something that could be fight ending. I will say this right now, bro. Nothing, absolutely nothing would make me more happy than seeing Islam Makhachev flatlined, absolutely flatlined on the canvas, and JDM is celebrating, dude. I mean, that would bring the UFC back, bro. Like, we're back, boys. Like, that would be insane. Do I think that's gonna happen? No. Like, my official prediction for this, and I know it's difficult to make a decision like this because I definitely see it both ways. I could see that happening a little bit, but I could also see Islam pulling off a boring decision win against JDM, just grinding him the whole time. Although I will say, I do like Islam because he's my favorite of the Daggies, right? Because he actually tries and tries to get the finish. He doesn't just grind you for 25 minutes. He looks for the submission. He looks for the ground and pound. Not like it's like a Umar or like a Khabib. A lot of those guys, they didn't do that. I mean, Khabib did get a lot of submission finishes, but Islam, I think, is just my fave out of all of those guys. I think he is, and he's also like more. He's more like he's got a funny side to him. He messes around a little bit. He's definitely the most likable Daggy, I think. And like I said, he also doesn't mind the striking. He actually, a lot of people say he's a way better striker than Khabib, and I agree. And he entertains the striking, right? If we see his fight against Poirier, like he entertains that striking. So yeah, I mean, definitely, look, this fight, no matter what, it's insane. If this is a boring fight, bro, I'm going to freak the fuck out. I'm going to freak the fuck out if this fight is boring. I don't think so. I think we're definitely going to see some nice exchanges from both of these guys. JDM having some success on the ground, on the feet, and then obviously Islam having some success on the ground, getting a few takedowns. But overall, I mean, if I had to make an official prediction, it has to be Islam via submission. Not early, though. Like I said, not early. I think JDM is going to do a great job at keeping it on the feet and banging it with Islam and touching him up. I could see him maybe even wobbling Islam at some point. Like, dude, that would be amazing if he can wobble Islam and try to do some damage there. But I think I definitely see Islam submission win. I would say round 3, round 4, like a late submission. JDM just maybe being a little more tired, a little more weathered. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my official prediction. But again, nothing would make me more happy than JDM KO win. That would be insane. Boys, we are back. The UFC is back. Holy shit, my phone's blowing up. Hold on. Okay. So yeah, that's my official prediction for the main event. Obviously, fire fight. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. JDM, obviously, I mean, the one thing that he has going for him is his boxing. He has beautiful boxing. He's arguably the best boxer in the UFC. And I think he has some potential there. He definitely has room and potential to do some damage against Islam. So yeah, just a matter of if he can keep it on the feet, right? Next up, we have, again, a very similar matchup. Not similar matchup, but a similar situation where we have a former champ moving up and challenging a champion at a higher weight class. We have Zhang Wei Li, who was the former strawweight champion and relinquished her title, and now is moving up and fighting Valentina Shevchenko for the women's flyweight title. Good. I mean, skill-wise, stylistically speaking, this could be the best fight, the best women's championship fight we've had in a very long time. Like, skill by skill. Like both of these women are stupid talented. Stupid. Like goats. Goats of the women's division for sure. This should be a good fight. I say that, with some care, because a lot of times these women's fights can definitely be bathroom breaks, and they can definitely be a bit of a snooze fest, a lot of the time. So that is why I'm a little scared. I'm scared to be disappointed, because this could definitely be a snooze fest and a boring fight. But it couldn't. Both of these gals have been really, really good fights and wars. So I'm praying, dude. I'm fucking praying. But yeah, obviously Valentina is one of the most, I think, if not the most decorated fighter in the UFC, regardless of gender, male or female. She has, I think, the most title defenses out of everybody. So shout out to her. I mean, she's been doing it for a very, very long time. Only has a couple losses on her record. Obviously, most recently she had that hump against Alexa Grasso, who nobody really expected. I mean, Valentina was just fucking climbing that fucking hill, bro. Like win after win after win after win, dominating everybody. becoming a fucking savage of the sport, lapping the division. And then she has a little hump, you know, a little hump on the hill against Alexa Grasso, who she gets submitted, you know. And then after that, they rematch and they have a draw, which is fucking, you never want to see that. And so that slowed her down a couple of years for sure. It was at least a year and a half before, you know, from the loss to the decision to then getting that. I mean, it was almost a year, 2 full years before getting that dub back. So definitely a hump in the road. But then she came back after that and defended the belt one more time against Fiorot. But yeah, I mean, we expect nothing but dominance from Valentina, and I'm a huge fan of Valentina Shevchenko. She is an amazing fighter. I think a lot of the time she's a little bit under, she's a little bit underappreciated. Like, she's the most decorated fighter in the UFC, no matter what, you know, male, female, weight classes, whatever. Most title defenses on anybody. And she kind of flies under the radar a little bit. You know, she kind of flies under people's radars. And I don't know why. Chael Sonnen had a really good point. I saw the breakdown he had in Ariel Helwani. And he said nobody has more title defenses in co-main events than Valentina Shevchenko. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy. Because, yeah, she is a champion through and through. Probably the best champion in the UFC, skill-wise. And she can do it all. She can strike, she can wrestle, she can grapple. Like, she is well-rounded as fuck. And yet, somehow she gets, again, underappreciated by the UFC, by a lot of fans, I think, you know? So, yeah, and definitely losing against Alexa Grasso and then getting a draw didn't help at all. This is a good fight because, I mean, they're both really, really experienced. They're both obviously dominant champs at their own weight classes. Valentina is 37, so she is kind of slowing down a little bit as far as age goes, but she still looks phenomenal. But Zhang Weili is up there too. She's 36. She's not a young buck or anything, you know. But, I mean, if you look at it on paper, right, I think Valentina might have a better record overall, but Zhang Weili has been in, like, tougher matchups, if that makes sense. I mean, and also Zhang Weili pretty much undefeated her whole career, except, you know, one loss a long time ago. Don't even look at that. It was outside the UFC. But, you know, she did have that nasty KO loss against Rose Namajunas. That was horrible. Got knocked out clean. She got up right away, though, and protested. But, I mean, you can't deny that was a clean knockout. And she was out like a light, brother. And then, unfortunately, she didn't get that one back. You know, she unfortunately came back and lost again against Rose Namajunas in a split decision. It was split decision, so if anything, that should say it all. But it was a boring fight. But it was a split decision. But ever since then, she's been dominating, you know, because then Rose lost against Carla Esparza, and that became the new champ, and then Weili slid in there and regained her title. Obviously, Zhang Weili had that fantastic war against Joanna Jędrzejczyk a few years ago. They had a rematch, which wasn't nearly as good, and she ended up beating the fuck out of Joanna. But obviously, she had that very, like, she had a, what year was that? 2020. Wow, 2020, dude, it was a fucking war. If you remember, Joanna's face was all kinds of messed up, bro. So, Zhang Weili has had the more wars, the tougher matchups, but Valentina Shevchenko has had, I think, the more title defenses and a bit more of a dominance, if that makes sense. Either way, it's a close matchup, and you're also gonna see if it plays a factor, the fact that Valentina might be bigger than Weili, not by a lot. Weili is kind of small, though. How tall is she? She is 5'4", and Valentina Shevchenko, again, this is ESPN facts too, it's 5'5". So, I mean, no, they're not that big. Like, difference-wise, you know? Valentina's 5'5", she's only an inch higher than Weili. So, I don't think that's going to play a factor. Size-wise, though, Valentina might be a little bit bigger walking around size-wise, after the rehydration from the weight cut. So, yeah, but then you also got to see, like, how is Zhang Weili going to perform without having to cut weight? Which is kind of what I also forgot to mention earlier about Islam is Islam's, these daggies, they famously always kill themselves trying to make weight. So how is he going to perform? No longer have to cut that much weight, So we'll see. This one's tough, man. This one's definitely tough. I think if I had to make an official prediction, I will definitely give it to Valentina. But I don't think anybody gets finished here. I don't think Weili can finish Valentina, and I don't think Valentina can finish Weili. If anything, I think the finish could come from Valentina. I could see her maybe getting a knockout or a submission against Zhang Weili, but they're both very evenly matched. They are both extremely skilled and obviously been dominant champs for a while. This is a great matchup, so I'm super excited for this. But yeah, if I had to make an official prediction, I say it would be Valentina Shevchenko. So there you go. So I have Islam and Valentina for official predictions. Next up, we have a fantastic fight, bro. Potentially fight of the night. And it's not the only potentially fight of the night, dude. These are, bro. Sean Brady versus Michael Morales. This is a insane fight. Obviously, Michael Morales is completely undefeated, 18-0 in his career, coming off of a great win, KO win against Gilbert Burns, former title challenger, had that war against Kamaru Usman, had that war against Khamzat Chimaev, seasoned veteran of the sport, and Michael Morales fucking knocked the fuck out of him, bro. So that's one side. Michael Morales, undefeated prospect, huge momentum right now, savage, dangerous guy from Ecuador, 6 feet tall, 26 years young. He is an absolute destroyer. And on the other fucking side, you have Sean motherfucking Brady, a gangster from the U.S., bro. Gangster. 5'10", 32 years old. Only loss in his career ever. Also undefeated. 18-1. Oh my God. They are evenly matched. I love this, bro. Only loss in his career is against the former champ Belal Muhammad. So, yeah. This fight, dude, if this doesn't get fight of the night, or if this is a snooze fest by any chance, I will be so upset. I will be so fucking upset. Both of these guys are very, very well-rounded. Sean Brady has a fantastic ground game. He definitely has some submission game. He's coming off of a great submission win against the former champ, Leon Edwards. So, yeah, dude, this guy, I don't even know what else to say about this fight. This fight is fantastic, dude. At least on paper. So, both have a win over Gilbert Burns, so we can kind of compare them a little bit there. And if you want to say who beat Gilbert Burns more impressively, it was Michael Morales for sure. He KO'd him, and Sean Brady only won by decision. But yeah, dude, these guys are very, very evenly matched, and I'm super excited for this fight. Both well-rounded. Sean Brady being an orthodox. Both have multiple ways of winning, Both have KOs and submission attempts, so that could also be a huge factor there of, like, the fight could go either way. And both of these guys can win either way, Michael Morales, I think, if anything, they're both well-rounded, but if anything, he's more of a KO artist, right? He's got 2 KOs in a row right now. Before that, he had also 2 in a row right now. Not right now, but he had 2 in a row in 2022, and then won 2 by decision, and then has 2 in a row as well with Neil Magny and Gilbert Burns. He does have some submission wins, never in the UFC though. Before he in the UFC, he got a few submission wins, so actually just 1. So, if anything, that speaks to him being more of a striker, right? Sean Brady, though, I think what he has going for him in this is size. I think once they rehydrate, Sean Brady puts up a lot of weight back, and he's a big dude. He's got a huge back. He's fucking he's built really, really well. So he can use it to his advantage. And obviously, he might have the advantage on the grappling, on the wrestling department. So he can use that to his advantage. I think he could pull off the win. This is clearly the number one contender fight for the welterweight division after JDM and Islam Makhachev wins. They're going to fight the winner of this fight for sure. The winner of Sean Brady versus Michael Morales fights the winner of JDM versus Islam. There's no chance that doesn't happen. I mean, you have other people. Welterweight is a stacked division. You have other people there like Kamaru Usman. He just defeated Joaquin Buckley. Very impressive win. You have Shakar Rahmanov, who I think is injured, so we haven't heard much from him. You have Ian Gary, who I think has to get one more win or two more wins, But yeah, I mean, you have Leon Edwards, who's also fighting in this card. Welterweight is absolutely stacked, bro. But in my opinion, this should be the number one contender fight because not only is going to be fresh in our memory recently, it has that it factor of Sean Brady is the number 2 guy ranked. So what better number one contender than the number 2 guy, But again, you also have Kamaru Usman there in the mix, who I think should get a title shot. Especially I think if Islam wins, Islam versus Kamaru would be a fantastic fight. And I know Islam hinted towards that at an interview not too long ago. Or I think he said something about that, like he wants to fight JDM and then Kamaru and I forget, I think he said Ilya maybe, but I forget who. But yeah, I mean, that would be a fantastic fight. So my official prediction for this one, dude, I don't know. This is so hard. I mean, it would have to be Sean Brady. Sean Brady, do I think he's going to win though? Fuck, dude. He could get knocked out. He could get flatline knocked out. I want Sean Brady to win. This one can go absolutely either way, though. Absolutely, this is a coin toss. I could see Michael Morales getting a knockout. I could see Sean Brady getting a decision win or a submission. So yeah, we have to wait and see. But officially, my prediction will be Sean Brady because he's there, bro. He's right there. He's so close. He's had a rough upcoming. Not rough, but like he's earned that spot. He's earned that number one contender spot. So if anything, I want him to win. Michael Morales can lose this one, fight another guy, win another guy, beat another guy, and then be right there also for a title. But Sean Brady, dude, deserves that number one spot, dude. He is a dog and he's a gangster. So shout out. We have another welterweight matchup. Great night for welterweight. We have Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates, another potential fight of the night. If Leon kind of re-emerges as the previous Leon that he was, but if we get the Leon that that fought Sean Brady, the Leon that fought Muhammad, it's going to be an easy night for Carlos to piece him up and go to work. But yeah, I mean, Leon, dude, he, up until a few years ago, in my opinion, was one of the most technical fighters in the UFC as far as being well-rounded, doing everything good, making very little to no mistakes, precise striking, just overall really, really well. Just precision, just fucking execution being beautifully done. And up until a few years, that's what he was, And obviously his highlight of his career, I spit on the mic. The highlight of his career, obviously, it's that head kick KO win against Kamaru Usman, which, yeah, it was a good KO, but it was kind of a fluke, right? Because he was getting dominated that whole fight. But then he comes back and wins against Kamaru again via decision, not convincingly, but he did win via decision. It wasn't like a split or anything like that, or nobody's saying that Kamaru won that fight. So he won convincingly, right? And then when he fought that Colby fight, that's when I was like, okay, this guy is, we have to watch out for him. He is insane, right? And then he has a horrible performance against Bilal. He has a horrible performance against Sean Brady. And what pisses me off with Leon is that he like talks a big shit. Against Bilal, he was talking so much shit when it didn't really need to happen. You know, that you can't really, it feels bad talking shit against a guy like Bilal because he already gets a lot of bullshit on the internet, on the fans side, you know. So like forcing a trash talk to a guy like Bilal just really doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyways, he spoke such a big game and just honestly got dominated, dude, by both of these guys, by Bilal and by Sean Brady. So the real question here is, will we see the former champ lose 3 in a row? Will we see that? Or will he defeat this up-and-coming animal, absolutely animal, in Carlos Prates? So now let me talk a little bit about him. Obviously, part of that whole fighting nerds squad from Brazil, knockout artist. I mean, dude, every time I look at this guy's record, it's ridiculous how much fucking knockout. I mean, knockout after fucking knockout, bro. Almost undefeated in the UFC. Had a few losses previously in his career, but the only loss that he has really major was against Ian Gary here in Kansas City, baby. I didn't go to that fight, but fuck, I would have loved to go on. I had tickets to go, actually, but I couldn't because I had a wedding. Not as a guest. If I would have been a guest at a wedding, I would have been like, fuck your wedding. I'm going to the UFC. It would have been my first ever UFC event, you know? And it was a good one. It was a really good one. But no, I had to work at a wedding. Your boy works at weddings. So, yeah. I had to work at a wedding, so I couldn't go, unfortunately. But, yeah, that's his only really loss. And listen, even in that fight, you know, round 5, he almost won that fight. Almost took out Ian Gary, you know, he was going to get in mollywopped the whole fight. Ian Gary did a fantastic job at kind of staying on the outside, not letting Carlos Prates implement his plan. Ian Gary shutting him down completely. But then in round 5, you can tell Ian Gary was gassed. He's a big boy. But you can tell he was gassed. And Carlos Prates did his thing, man. He just fucking went to town, almost getting that knockout, bro. I mean, Ian Gary was on the mat, fucking slithering for his life. If you remember, he was like slithering for his life, brother. So the fact that he survived that, it's all right, you know. But, you know, it's all right. He bounced back. He got a KO, fantastic KO win against Jeff Neal somewhat recently, a couple of months ago, just in August. Great KO win against Jeff Neal. And yeah, I mean, I hate to do it. I mean, I don't hate to do it because I don't really like Leon Edwards, but I think Carlos Prates has it in the bag. So if I'm going to make an official prediction here, it's going to be Carlos Prates. If it is by KO, though, that would be insane, bro. If he can knock out Leon Edwards, that would be insane. That would be crazy, which I don't think it's been done. I don't think Leon has ever been knocked out. He got submitted by Sean Brady, and he lost to decision against Bilal. But yeah, never been knocked out, bro. Never been knocked out. So if he can do that, that would be insane. So because he's never been knocked out, you know, that also opens up the possibility of like, well, the way Carlos could win if to a guy that's never been knocked out could be by decision. So I could definitely see him like piecing up Leon on the outside for 5 rounds. And again, Carlos has really good cardio, at least for what we saw in the not great cardio, which is funny because he smokes cigarettes, but you know, he's able to still have some energy and some power on the 5th round, which is what we saw against Ian Gary. So yeah, So yeah, Carlos Prates for sure. This is the way to go in this one. Yeah. Next up, we have Benil Dariush versus BSD, Benoit Saint-Denis. Another potential fight of the night. I mean, maybe not, depending on how Benil can perform in this one. But both of these guys are really, really not veterans. Benoit is not really a veteran, but Dariush is. Benoit had that unfortunately lost 2 in a row against Poirier and then against Moicano. But then he bounced back. He's in a 2-fight winning streak right now, which had a really, really impressive submission win against Mauricio Ruffy, another guy of those fighting nerds. So a lot of hype behind him, and Benoit definitely got the upset there. So I'm pumped for that. I think BSD is going to have this one in the bag, which I feel bad for Dariush because he's such a good guy. You can tell he's a nice guy, and he is someone that's been in the division there for a long time. A little bit of a gatekeeper, unfortunately, has always lost against the top guys of the division, he lost against Oliveira, Sarukian, but I mean, other than that, he was riding a really good streak there. I mean, he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-fight winning streak before he lost to Charles Oliveira, which was a fantastic fight also. He also was a guy that kind of took the long road. He was on that winning streak, and he wasn't even in the title conversation. So, I mean, it feels bad. And after those 2 losses, he was nowhere near the title conversation. But now, 2 wins in a row, again after the work is already there. This is what I kind of broke down. I broke this down a few months ago or a few weeks ago in another video, but if you get on a winning streak and you do a lot of work, and then you say you lose one or you lose another, a lot of guys say, oh, it's back to the drawing board, back to the queue. In my opinion, I think it's not. I think you already did the foundation work. You already did the base work that, hey, I did have a 7, 8 fighting winning streak. Yeah, I lost my last 2, but if I bounce back and just get, I don't have to get another fucking 8 fight winning streak. That would be insane. 2, 3 more, I think will get the job done to potentially be considered for another number 1 contender fight. I don't think he's going to get a title shot anytime soon, but if he gets past someone like a Benoit Saint-Denis, definitely he's up there for a potential number 1 contender fight. But it's tough. I think Benoit Saint-Denis, I think, has this in the bag. So if I had to make an official prediction for this one, it will definitely be Benoit Saint-Denis. He was kind of completely undefeated, right? When he came before he fought Poirier, he was undefeated in the UFC. Actually, no, he lost his UFC debut, so my bad. But other than that, undefeated, and then lost to Poirier, and then lost to Moicano. So feels bad. Similarly matched up. I mean, if you want us to look at it that way, both of these guys that have lost to the top of the division, and now they're meeting, and again, they don't have to reset. They don't have to go on another crazy win streak. They just have to show up, pull off 1 or 2 more impressive wins, and you'll get the job done, brother. So, next up, we have the prelims, Bo Nickel versus Rodolfo Vieira. This is also a great fight because Bo Nickel is obviously a guy that has great momentum, not momentum, but he has hype. He has some hype. It kind of died. His aura died a little bit, right? Because he just made some stylistical mistakes when it comes to his fights. We all know his bread and butter, it's the wrestling, right? That's what he is known for. Fight against Brundage, it was a decision win. Oh wait, no, it was a submission win. It was okay though. His fight against Paul Craig, even himself was critical about hey, I wasn't proud of that. He ended the fight and he went like this. I think that was that one. Or maybe I was wrong. I don't know. But then you get to RDR and he gets knocked out. He got hit with some big body shots. He couldn't continue. So yeah, he got the loss there. The knock on him is that, hey, we know you for your wrestling. You came over from wrestling, real wrestling, right? Not pro wrestling. So why not do that? And why not take the Hamzat approach where you're going to fucking grind on a guy for 25 minutes? Yeah, a lot of people are going to talk all the shit when you do that. All the shit. But guess what? You'll get the win. You'll get closer to a title shot. You can also tell that the UFC are kind of like trying to slowly bring Bo Nickel up the same way they did to maybe like a Sean O'Malley, somebody like that. Like this potentially could be a huge star in the US. You see this doing with, you see the UFC doing this with people in the US, not really the Daggies or anybody else. The US champions that could get them views and pay-per-view sales in the US, they bring them up slowly and carefully with nice matchups. This one though, it's tough, bro, because if you look at fucking what's his name? Rodolfo Vieira, dude, he is a absolute killer, bro. Killer. 36 years old, and a bunch of submission wins, dude. A bunch of submission wins. So this is gonna like let us know if Bo Nickel is really about his wrestling. I would hate to be Bo Nickel right now because he might be thinking, everybody wants me to wrestle, but this is probably the most dangerous guy to wrestle with, right? If you're just looking at his record, all the submission wins, he will definitely catch Bo Nickel with something and get submitted, right? So he runs the risk of, okay, if I do what everybody wants me to do, wrestle, I might lose the fight. If I keep it on the feet, his boxing is not that good. Bo Nickel's, I don't really know how Rodolfo's boxing is. He does have one KO win in his career a long time ago, but I think as far as this fight goes, Bo Nickel is better off keeping it on the feet, bro. And he might get a lot of shit from that from a lot of people, but who cares? Like, for this fight only, I guess. If you fight if you fight another striker later on, yeah, wrestle his ass for 25 minutes. But in this case, dude, Rodolfo seems dangerous on the ground, on the mat. So Bo Nickel can definitely get caught with something here. I wouldn't be, Rodolfo is a favorite. An underdog. I really wouldn't mind putting some money on him by submission because he could definitely pull that off, dude. My official prediction for this one is, dude, I would hate to say Rodolfo, but I just think Bo is missing that experience a little bit, man. That dog, like, he doesn't really have that dog in him like we see other people have. Like, he's just missing some of that spark, you know what I mean? He's a great wrestler. He's a good fighter overall. He has had some success on the feet against lower guys that nobody really knows. But, yeah. We're going to see. This is going to be probably Bo's toughest test right now as far as wrestling goes. So, other than RDR, but we're going to see what the fuck Bo is about. If he's able to keep it on the feet and bang with the guy, or he's going to wrestle the guy and potentially out-grapple the guy. If he out-grapples, if he out-grapples him, then probably we'll see, okay, Bo is really about that life and he's really true to the hype. So, but I don't know. Next up, we have another good fight, Roman Kopylov versus Gregory Rodriguez. RoboCop, by the way, I was dying laughing when I found out that both of these guys are the same age, dude. Roman Kopylov and RoboCop are the exact same age, 33 years old. RoboCop, Gregory, G-Rod, looks 52. He looks 52 years old, bro. It's insane. Roman, I think, is my favorite to win in this one, though, but he's the more like fresher, up and coming guy. RoboCop is a bit more seasoned veteran, has been doing it for longest. I think that record wise Roman has definitely a better record. He is coming off a loss against Paulo Costa. Very, very impressive win by Paulo, but I don't think we're going to see Roman lose two in a row. I think that he is going to bounce back and get this win against G-Rod. As far as G-Rod goes, yeah, he's also been a guy that's been a little bit of a gatekeeper too, and again, just a veteran of that division and of the sport. But unfortunately, we've always seen him underperform against some of those top contender fight guys. Where the fuck is here? It is. Let me see. What is his record? So he lost to Cannonier, lost to Bruno Ferreira, lost to Armin Petrosian. Other than that, his record is pretty decent. So, yeah. But he's a guy that, again, he also flies a little bit under the radar. He has to get it moving and start doing some work pretty soon. I guess against a win against Roman, I don't know how much it does, though, because Roman, again, is coming off of a win. It's coming off of a loss, too, against Paulo Costa. Let me see the rankings, though. I want to see the rankings. At middleweight, we have Paulo Costa is number 13. So these guys are not even ranked. So they're definitely looking for that top 15 spot. I thought Roman was ranked. Well, I guess I'm wrong. That's their goal, I think, with this fight is get closer to that top 15. I have to give it to Roman, though. I think Roman is definitely the better fighter of the both. Just going pure skill by skill. We have another potential number, which is crazy to say this is on the prelims, but a potential number one contender fight in Erin Blanchfield versus Tracy Cortez. Both of these gals are really nice record. If you look at Tracy's record, I think she gets a lot of shit, but she only has that loss against Rose Namajunas on her record. Other than that, she's undefeated, bro, which is not easy to do. So shout out. Same with Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield is also having a fantastic record, undefeated. She, however, has a win against Rose Namajunas. So that should tell you that, if you do some of that MMA mathematics, right? Erin beat fucking Rose Namajunas, and Rose Namajunas beat Tracy Cortez. So on paper, Erin Blanchfield should probably win this fight. But this is going to be a very good fight. It's on the prelims, so it is what it is. Might be a bathroom break, you never know. But I'll definitely be watching. This is a fight that interests me a lot because this could potentially have number one contender fight implications. Maybe not right now, but definitely in the very near future. Just because of the records. And just because women's division are usually pretty shallow. So, who knows? Maybe if one of them has a very impressive win, they're at flyweight, so the champion is fighting later on. They could call out, the winner of Valentina and Zhang Weili. So that could be potential. I think if Erin wins, she has to be a number one contender fight, for sure. Number one contender fighter, for sure. Let me see. Are they ranked? Yeah, I know they're ranked, but when are they? Where are they in the rankings? So Erin Blanchfield is number 4, and Tracy Cortez is number 8. So, yep. Super excited for this fight. I think it's going to be a good fight, regardless of what everybody says. I think this might not be a snooze fest. Let's hope. Erin Blanchfield, I think, has the more advantage when it comes to the grappling department. So I could definitely see her pulling a submission win. Didn't she beat Meatball Molly? I think she did, right? yeah, she submitted her. So yeah, there you go. I think in this case, I think that Erin Blanchfield might take this dub, which I feel bad because I like Tracy a lot. I think Tracy is a great fighter. So she, you never know, she might get the dub, but she has won a lot of just straight decision wins, so which is not great. Pretty much all his career in the UFC, all her career in the UFC have been decisions, so not great. So Erin is my favorite to win there for sure. She is the favorite, of course. So yeah, makes sense. Malcolm Wellmaker versus Cody Haddon. Wasn't this guy in prison, bro? Wasn't Malcolm? Oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm thinking of Dumas or Sumas, something else, right? Yeah, should be a fun fight. I think I'll have Malcolm Wellmaker win this one. He has a very impressive record right now, 4 KOs in a row. His last KO was against Motino. So Chris Motino, who he was whatever, but yeah, I mean, record wise, you gotta give it to Wellmaker. He is an absolute knockout artist. I'm surprised he's not on the higher on the card, Cody Haddon, he is all right. He's had also five fights in a row right now that he's won, but 2 by KOs, 1 submission, 1 by and 2 by decision. So sorry, 2 by submissions, 2 by KOs, and 1 by decision. So pretty well-rounded guy. This should be a good fight as well. But I think that I'm gonna give it to Malcolm, just because he does definitely have the more advantage to win. So, the rest of the fight night, it's okay. The rest of the prelims are okay. I'm not gonna break down all of them, but I do see Basingor Susurkaev. If you remember from a few months ago, this guy won at the Contender Series, and then took a short notice fight at a pay-per-view. I think it was a pay-per-view of Khamzat Chimaev, and won that as well. Definitely a few holes in his game. It was only his first UFC career. Get this, August 12th, he wins by KO in Dana White's Contender Series. August 16, literally 4 days later, he wins by submission at UFC 319. So, but like I was going to say, we saw some games on his, some holes in his game, definitely, I think, some mistakes, some avoidable mistakes that happened to guys that are early on in his career. So, yeah, no issues there, but I definitely think he's going to... Huge favorite, bro. Holy shit. Minus 1,000. Holy shit, brother. What the fuck? Yeah, anyways. I think that'll be all for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah, see you guys on the next one. I'll be breaking down what happens after, seeing if my predictions were right, and I'll let you know what's next for the winners and the losers of the card. So have a great rest of your day. Peace.